with Mind Chrysalis here with Liam. Liam, you're in the school community, Mind Chrysalis on school.com. And
I am.
you did a session with me last September, and you've been gracious enough, kind enough to share your story with our audience on YouTube, school, etc., other platforms. And so can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to do a session with me?
Yeah, no worries, mate. So, yeah, I feel like my whole life I've kind of been looking for answers. Like I've always had this something holding me back. I
Yeah.
never knew what it was. I kind of thought it was my imagination. I thought it was me.
Mhm.
There was a lot of toxic shame going on. Obviously, I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
Um,
Toxic
so
shame,
I
feeling not good enough, right?
Absolutely. So, I just thought that was it. That's the way I am. That's the way it is, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not, but a part of me wanted to improve. So I was always trying to, so I actually got into self-improvement, and
Mm-hmm.
from self-improvement, I got into it was MLD's kind of video content. And then from there, I think I joined one of his communities. And then from there, it was your webinar that was like a game changer in that. I don't really remember much of anything else. I mean, I'm sure it was all good information,
That
but
was
that's the
that
thing
was the
that's,
inner game healing, the 5 days of webinars, and I gave a webinar
oh,
one day. Was that it, or was it the
no,
MA?
no. Do you know what it was? It was the improvement, the
Oh,
general
okay,
improvement.
okay,
And so
cool.
yours was just like yeah, yours was just like a section, but it was one like I was fixated on. So
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at your content for a good while, and I was like, this is starting to add up. This makes sense. Like, so there's definitely something in this. And I think you give a free self hypnosis in that group.
Yeah,
Um,
I taught people how to use self, just like on mindpurpose on school.com, taught people how
yeah,
to, by the way, for those of you watching on YouTube, other platforms, I have probably put a link to my school community where you can get the free self-hypnosis and training that Liam's talking about. So, yeah, tell me what happened then. You found the self-hypnosis, the free
yes.
program, free training.
And so I did that, and it was like mind blowing because it literally did take me back to as a child. And I always thought that I had a really good childhood, and it was the teenage years where things started to dip. That's what I always thought,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when I started really struggling with things, and it
Mm-hmm.
was just constant after that. But the reality was, it started way before that.
You got planted
You
in your
know,
childhood. Yeah, these deep down subconscious beliefs. Okay.
100%. So, and yeah, so I really wanted to do a session, but I was flat broke. And one of the reasons I was flat broke is because I've just been repeating for years self-sabotaging behaviors in pretty much every aspect of my life. So when it came to work,
Mm-hmm.
money, relationships, like food, even stuff like that, I was just perpetually doing the same cycle. So I'd go say get a new job,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be good for a while, and then after a while I'd just quit, and I'd say, oh, it's the people, it's the people, it's the people. It wasn't the people, it was me, and what it
Yeah.
was there was a lot of toxic shame there, and there's a lot of I'm not good enough. And if the
Why do
people
you
get
think you put it on the people and didn't realize it was you?
because well, to be fair, right, some of them were quite annoying, but like it's nothing that you couldn't handle, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
were, yeah, nothing I couldn't handle very easily now, or you know what I mean? It was just they were slightly annoying. I thought, oh, that's that. But what it was, the reality was, the more I got to know people, I was scared to reveal the true me. That was like a big one for me,
Yeah.
because it was unsafe to do so, and that's what we found out in our session. Um,
And
because
what was that
without
fear? If you showed them the real you before we helped fix your inner world, what do you fear would have happened if they would have seen the real you?
um, I think what we got from that was, if I revealed the real me, it was just not good enough. Just
They'd see you're not good enough, and that would how would that make you
And
feel?
that would be like crushing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I
devastating.
could never, so I could never reveal too much. Or I felt like that, and this isn't conscious. Like you always say, not all of this, hardly any of this is conscious. It's all back here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and I remember sitting.
we'll kind of
Sorry,
feel
man.
it. but maybe not know why we feel that way, or maybe even zone out from the feelings. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
I would agree. And just to paint a picture, so say I'd be starting, say, like an office cubicle or wherever, some kind of job, and I was fine for like short bursts. I'm quite sociable in general, but then when you're in the same location, I just wanted to sink into the floor. Like I can't describe it any other way. Like I just
Wow.
wanted to leave. It was awful. And I think that's one of the things that really pushed me over the edge to getting a session with you, because I was just like, look, this is ridiculous. Like I can't live like
Something's
this.
got to
This
change,
is
man.
100%. And I'll also add this.
Mhm.
I was very like financially. I was pretty much broke, so that's why I probably didn't get a session before. But when I got a session with you, I had hardly any money, but I had such confidence in it because I was looking into it for such a long time
Mhm.
and into what you were doing. I just knew it would work, and I knew I had to do something. So I just
Okay,
jumped in.
so your struggle was you would self-sabotage, you'd start a job, you quit a job, now you broke again, start another one, quit another one. Is that accurate?
100%.
How
Yeah.
about like relationships? Any other way you struggled?
Yeah. Relationships, it would be kind of a similar pattern. Like,
Yeah.
you just think of a reason to end it, or a reason why it wasn't
Mhm.
working, or maybe, oh, here's a good one regarding relationships. It's almost like I had this barometer that I set for, like, say, like girls that I would be able to date and girls that were just out of my league.
Mhm.
And the more I liked them, the more there was
Yeah,
a
the
risk.
out of your league.
Yeah, yeah, the risk was higher. So
Yeah.
it was like this standard, this invisible standard I was setting for myself.
Yeah.
And a lot of that came back from, because I've been doing the self hypnosis a lot.
Mhm.
So from our session, I've found out even more. Even though our session was really, really extensive, I found out even
Mhm.
more. And a lot of that, I think, a lot of that is tied to, it's okay to date these girls that you're not really that bothered about. But when it comes to someone you like they kind of reveal things. They reveal, and then it becomes unsafe to reveal the real you. And now there's real pain there. But it's all right when you're just dating these girls here and there. But when it gets serious, and I think that's when I self-sabotage as well. When it starts to get serious, like get
It's
scared.
better to self-sabotage and lose a girl now than lose a girl later
Yeah.
after she actually sees the deep down shit and maybe rejects you from that. That would be super
Yeah,
painful because then she'd be rejecting the real you that you don't want to show the world. Would you agree?
yeah, it all comes down to the
That's that
to the
toxic
real
shame,
you.
man. If people see the real me, they're gonna see how not good enough I am.
And I'll say this, I think I've got a few things that I wanted to, because it's kind of surreal me doing this, by the way,
Yeah.
because it doesn't seem that long ago I was watching these and counting my pennies, like, can I afford a session around here? And now I
And
am one.
dude, I have
So
nothing but admiration for you for like saving up. And honestly, my sessions, if you look at how much I get paid per hour, are not super, they seem super expensive, but it is a 5, 6 hour session. I give you self-hypnosis and training and additional tools. So, when you look at it per hour, it's not super expensive, but still it's an investment. It's
yeah,
it's still not cheap. And honestly, I admire the hell out of you for saying, listen, I'm going to sacrifice to really invest in yourself. So
yeah.
how was the
Well,
session for you? Go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, mate, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No.
I think that might be a lot of people's concerns. And I'm just going to tell you, like, right now, like, if you don't do it, and you do, and this stuff does resonate with you, and you know that it's something you need to sort out, you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because it needs to, you do deserve better. Now I just look back and I think, what a waste of time. But actually, I shouldn't say that, because that was what I used to think about my past. Like, oh, I wasted all these years.
Mhm.
Now I just look back in a totally different light. Like, you kind of forgive the old you, because there was really no one around who would be able to help me.
No one,
you know
no
so
one like showed you how to do things the right way.
no, and that's
So you
another
can
thing.
forgive yourself for that past. Yeah.
And I pretty much have, which is a much better feeling than thinking, oh, I wasted all this time. It didn't really waste that time, because when I look back, I was always looking for some kind of answers. Like
Yeah.
I got into fitness, and then from that I went into self-improvement, and then from that I got into so everything was kind of leading up to this point anyway. So
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
think you
really
have a
wasted time.
website now, right? You want to plug your website real quick?
Yeah, I'll upload my
Hey,
website.
maybe you'll get some business, man. And by the way, go to his website. You'll see his physique. Liam's a pretty buff, solid buff dude, man. Yeah.
You're too kind, mate.
You have low body fat percentage for sure. But yeah, plug your website, bro.
Thanks, mate. So yeah, so basically the premise of my website is it's online fitness, but for me, when I was growing up, I was like a really like geeky kid, and I know it's quite mainstream to
Yeah,
be
tell
geeky
everyone
now.
your website so they can go if they want to see.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. So it's millennialmuscle22.com. So basically the premise is,
Okay.
you know, like I like I say, it's really quite mainstream now, but when I was growing up, it wasn't so mainstream.
Yeah.
So you know, I used to watch all the things, you know, like all the superhero shows, Dragon Ball Z, Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles, all
man.
this stuff, and it used to pump me up. Am I preaching to you, Ryan? Was that you too?
Yeah. I'm gonna go to the gym right after this, by the way. You're inspired. Cool, bro.
That's the spirit. Yeah. So the idea is that I'm trying to help people who are maybe in the same position as me. They watch this stuff and they feel very motivated by it, but maybe in their life they don't feel very powerful. They don't feel like they know anyone. They don't know anything. They don't know where to start. And I'm doing fitness like courses and fitness like personal training, but really what I want to do is kind of what you're doing, Ryan. I kind of want a community build,
Yeah.
so they do have, you know, somewhere to go and someone to help them out with fitness. And then I'm hoping to go from fitness to like general self-improvement. And I've got quite a grand scheme in mind, but
I think you're
yeah,
telling
so
me you like want to learn to do hypnosis now, right?
and I do want to
I told you when you're ready, when the student's ready, the master's here. But yeah, cool, man.
yeah.
So tell us, so you had, you know, self-sabotage, self-doubt, you cut relationships short before you got too close. You
Yeah.
quit jobs, you know, so and we did one session and you've done some self-hypnosis since then because I trained you how to do that. And there's the training on school.com/mind first list dash 7138, I think is the link, but I'll put it in the description for you guys.
Yeah.
So, but it really started, I think you did a little self-hypnosis before the session. How much self-hypnosis did you do before the one-on-one session with you and me?
Not a lot, because obviously I was still self-sabotaging myself.
Oh, okay, cool,
So
gotcha. Okay, so you did you do any one or two self-hypno? Did that help
yeah,
before the one-on-one, or what was that like? Or did
it
you
helped.
wait for the
Yeah.
one-on-one?
Well, do you know what, Ryan? It helped in the way that I knew there was more than something in it, and it helped in the way that I knew that there was something in there. But like I say, I'd still be self-sabotaging now if I didn't do the full session. So it did
Yeah.
help because I had an awareness of what you did and how it could kind of work. So when we went and did the session, you know, the extra session part of the session where you go into hypnosis, I was quite familiar with that.
Okay.
But
What was the one-on-one
generally,
session like? How did that help? What was it like, first off?
the
And
one-on-one session,
yeah,
oh man, it was mind-blowing. Like it was, because it's more than just the self-hypnosis. Like it's like a full dissection of yourself. Like I'll say this,
we went
to be
all the
honest
way
with,
down to the core, baby.
oh man, yeah. No, I was in. I was like, I think at one point in our session you were like, "Do you want to stop?" I was like, "No, I'm in. I'm in. I'm here now." I'm like, "Let's do it." But in
Yeah, I
the
think
before the
at
actual,
some point maybe the trauma was really big or something, and I'm like, "Are you okay,
yeah,
man?" or something. But you hung
yeah,
in
that was
there.
it.
Yeah. So
That was
yeah.
it.
So then what happened?
Just the whole before that part is so important because it pretty much answered all my questions. Because I'll say this to everyone, like, I haven't had the most traumatic like childhood. I'll bet there's some people who've had a session with you or are thinking of having a session that have had a much rougher upbringing than me. In my head, I didn't have a bad, you know, I knew my parents loved me and stuff like that. Like, you know, I didn't have it that bad. But what came out was there was a certain other family member that caused a lot of my issues, and it most of my session was fixated on that because
Hmm?
that was such a huge thing that I didn't notice. Like if you'd asked me a week earlier, what do you think your biggest problem is? I'd have probably said something else.
Wow.
I wouldn't have put two and two together like that.
Yeah.
And that was like game changing. And another thing is like now I'm just telling people about everything. So before, when I did this business page thing, my online fitness page, I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone that I knew.
Yeah.
Um,
So
when I was doing,
I'm just curious. So how quickly did you notice a difference once you had the session? Was it immediate? Was it very subtle? Did it change over time? Was it a very profound change? What was the change like?
it was funny. I remember it like it was yesterday. So when we did our session, it was Sunday evening where I am here in gloomy old England. So
Yeah.
it was Sunday, and it went quite far. I think I knew the session was going to be 5 or 6 hours, but I think we actually went even over that. So it was quite late.
Sometimes I do 7 if or even 7.5. I do whatever it takes. You're my only session. One-on-one, I only do 1 session a day. So yeah, I think we
Yeah,
went over. If you need it, you need it. We do whatever it takes. Yeah. So yeah,
great. Which is great, but because of that, it was Sunday night and it was like really late, and I was just pumped up. My eyes were like wide, so I wasn't sleeping for like a few hours. So then I got up the next day and went to my then sales job. I now have a much better sales job, by the way. It's in a much better environment. It's much better commission. Everything's improved on that aspect as well. And I won't be running away from that job any
How much better of a
moment.
salesperson are you?
What's that, sorry?
How much better of a salesperson are you? Are you better?
I'm much better.
Okay.
I just don't. I used to be really nervous about objections and all the stuff you have to deal with, what they're going to say. And I'm just relaxed, like a conversation, like we're having a conversation now. It's really it's
Wow.
effortless.
How big is that?
It's effortless.
How big is
What's
that?
that, sorry?
How big is that for you,
It's
that change?
it's huge because that was like my stumbling block.
Yeah.
You know,
I guarantee
I'd
I
maybe
guarantee I've done sales. I'll guarantee you'll be doing more just from that shift right there. But yeah, tell me more.
sorry, mate. So yeah, so that night I barely got any sleep, and
Mhm.
I was at my older job, which was a much more intense environment. And I was just like 3 hours sleep. I was just wide awake. I just felt really light.
Mhm.
And then after I had slept that night, it just got better, and it progressively just got better. It was like I did feel instantly better, but then it was like a progressive thing as well.
Mhm.
And then you just
So
stop, and it becomes your new normal kind of thing.
new normal. Love it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
did you quit your old job?
yeah.
Or
I quit my old job.
and was that related to the hypnosis led you to quit it or something else?
It was because I didn't, I know I like some of the jobs I've left in the past were like crap jobs, and that was really one of them. So I just thought, I just got up one day. I think that was the week after my session. I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't have to do this job because it was a case of I have to be here. I
Yeah.
have to be here. I thought, no, there's way better stuff out there. And, there was basically. So,
So
I
true.
set my
Why do you
standards
think
a
you
bit high
settled for that job before if in reality you could do better?
because back here somewhere, I wasn't enough. And that's why I've took on so many shit jobs, because even sometimes when you apply for jobs and I used to see like the wage,
Yeah.
there was something in my subconscious. If it was above a certain number,
You're like,
something would go,
I can't do that.
don't apply, don't
Yeah.
bother, don't bother. So now I was like, no, do you know what? I'm worth it. I can do it, and I'm worth it, and I've got the skills.
100 million%. I love it. And for those of us, for those watching this, there's some real important just truth bombs that Liam is dropping. Number one, a lot of what we go for in life is what we believe we're a match for, what we deserve. And then we're like, I can't be like this other guy, getting all these great things. That's not me. I don't deserve that. I'm not worthy of that. But when you get this deep down feeling of, and correct me if I'm wrong, a deep down feeling of deservedness for you, like, man, I can do better. Then you go out and do
Yeah,
better.
that's
Is
it.
that an
That's it.
accurate for you?
That's accurate. That's very accurate.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
would it be fair to say that this was a deep down core shift for you in how you felt about yourself, the world around?
100%,
Okay.
100%.
So you got out of your crap job because you're like, I could do better. And so what's your situation like now?
It's way better because I think when I did my session, there
Mhm.
was a little bit of a family thing where I had to stay in this house, but I still, because I was job jumping so much, I didn't really have any savings. So I couldn't have moved anywhere. So after that, I got a better job. I stayed there for a while at this family home because I kind of had to look after like a relative for a little while anyway.
Yeah, and
But
our
after
session
that,
was only 2.5 months ago. It's in December now. I think it was in
oh
September
man,
with the session, and it's early December now. So like 2.5 months.
it's no time really, but a
Yeah.
massive shift. So and just like with the job, the new job, I just set my standards on everything a bit higher. So I was looking for like flats, we call them, or apartments, you might call them. And there was a few I could have got, and I was like, no, I'm holding out, I'm holding out. And now I'm in like this really nice, in the northeast, this really nice like little seaside town. It's nice and peaceful, and I held
You
out
got
for
your
it.
own
And
place
now
now?
I got my own place again, and it's a better place than I had before.
How much overall do you think your income has improved to now have? You were living with your parents before?
No, it was a bit of a funny situation because my
Okay.
parents had an accident, so I kind of had to look after them for a little while. So I was kind
Oh,
of
okay.
going between houses. But before that happened, my income was just like fluctuating. But now the commission structure on this new sales job, the base salary is a bit more, like it's a
Mhm.
little bit more, but the commission structure is ridiculous. So when coupled with that, I'd say I don't have a percentage for you, but it's certainly gone up. Yeah,
Is it maybe in the 10% range, 50-ish, double? You're not sure?
I'm not sure. I don't want to put a
Okay.
number to it yet. But
But
if we
you
have a
know
chat
it's
in a few
definitely
months,
higher, but it's too soon to tell because you're still new to it.
yeah, it's too
Okay.
soon. But once I rake a few commissions, it'll probably double. To be honest, the commission's very generous.
Very nice. Very nice. Cool. So now, yeah, I've seen your website.
Thank
You got
you.
your side gig now. Um,
Yeah,
you in a nicer place, better job, in 2.5 months, feeling better.
yeah,
Um, any other thing, any other way to mention like how you're different now, what the improvements have been?
yeah. I've got a few things to mention.
Okay.
I've got a little note here because I didn't want to forget anything. Just to remind me.
Awesome, man.
So,
That's cool. Nice.
so another thing that's better is, do you know I mentioned the dating thing before and
Yeah.
having that little standard that didn't make any sense. So now that's kind of gone. So what I've noticed is I'm more myself and more confident in myself. I'm like attracting just a better class of lady in general, and I'm not putting up with
100%, man. Women love like
yeah,
authentic confidence, not like arrogance or like cockiness or
no, no, no.
flashiness. But if you're a dude who is like confident in the real you and just comfortable in your own skin,
Yeah, it goes along.
you get from where you were before to that. Your sexual market value in the dating marketplace, scale of 1 to 10, just went up a full point. That's what I experienced for myself. How would you say it is for you?
I would agree. At least one, maybe two, because I think that's what a lot of girls look for. And because you have like your own standards, you're like, if someone is not like that, maybe they're a bit toxic, or maybe they're just not for you. You just
You're
kind of
like,
like nice
no
and
thanks.
respectfully, yeah, but you're
You can say
respectful
no
about it. Like,
before you're like, man, I'm begging for scraps. I'll take it. Now it's
yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
it's okay.
yeah.
I don't need that. I'm not going to engage in that toxicity. No, I can leave that. Is that
No,
what
that's
you
it.
think?
You nailed it. You
Love it.
nailed it.
Love
And
it.
another thing I've started doing, sorry, Ryan, just another thing I've started doing was I kind of dabbled in like martial arts, but again, that was another self-sabotage thing where I'd start a new club for a little while, I'd go for a little while, I'd stop going, I'd stop, I'd stop. So now I've kind of upped the ante.
Mhm.
So I used to do a bit of boxing and a bit of kickboxing. Now I'm doing full on MMA and with
Wow.
my cousin, and it's great. And I used to be really nervous, and now I just get stuck in, as we say over here,
Dude,
and
I could like
it's
see
great.
you in the ring with like some 4-ounce gloves on, man. You kind of have that look, bro. You kind of have that look because you're like athletic and stuff. Yeah, I can see you in the ring, man. You know,
I'm too polite though. I'm like apologizing
it's
every
like it's
time.
like you got like a swollen eye, but you're on top of the guy. You're grounding and pounding him. Vicious killer, nice, good times, all in good fun. No malice involved.
No,
Just it's good natured beating. So good times.
Yeah, well, do you know what? That's funny because it is a very respectful place. I would urge anyone if you're kind of semi-interested in that kind of thing to join a decent little club because it's all very respectful, like you
Yeah.
say. You know, you shake hands afterwards. It's a nice environment.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a genuine like test of skill, but you're
Yeah,
also there to like help each other increase each other's skill, you know.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
You're right.
all right, good for you. So sounds like big shifts.
Huge.
This is why I work on the core stuff. What I've noticed is a lot of coaches, etc., are working on specific surface level skills, cognitive techniques. Good self-talk, good cognitive thought processes are also important, but we focus on these deep shifts, and this is why. You're like a model example of why.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say it kind of changes just across the board your life when you get these
Yeah.
down?
It,
Yeah.
it does, and you hit the nail on the head there because I'll say that for anyone on the fence like about this, I'll say I did the self-improvement thing for years, like 4 or 5 years.
What kind of things did
I
you
read every
do?
oh man, I read every self-improvement book. I did all the habits, and
Mhm.
they're all good. But if this is broken, you ain't going that far. You
Yeah, did
can't
that other
go that
stuff
far.
fix this core stuff that we worked on? Did it help? All the other
What's that? Sorry.
self-work, to what degree did the other self-work help this deep down core, both self-belief or lack of self-belief, worthiness versus unworthy? These deep core identity beliefs, to what extent did that 4 or 5 years of stuff help that, the deep core stuff we worked on?
It didn't really help that, to be honest. Like, did my life get slightly better in the 4 or 5 years compared to before? Yes, but I still felt like a loser. So
So how
it's
did your
quite a
session
dramatic thing
compare
to
to
say.
all that stuff?
Compared to all that. To be honest, if you did the deep down stuff, say with yourself, and then you would probably naturally go on to the other stuff, and it's like icing on the cake, as we say. Because if that's broken, then you're gonna well, for me, if you like what I was doing, you're gonna self-sabotage because that's all I kept doing. A little bit further, 2 steps back. A little bit further,
Yeah,
2 steps back.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was it was a painful process when I think back. I didn't know it was going on, but
yeah.
now with the realization, I'm like, holy shit. Sorry for swearing, but I was like, man, that's ridiculous. There you
Nice.
go.
So we did one session, big shift for you, but you did do some self hypnosis since our session 2.5 months ago. Tell us about that. How much self hypnosis have you done, and what's the effect of that?
Do you mean afterwards, Ryan? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We were just talking about this. I think just before we started recording. I was just telling you. Obviously, after the session, you give like a good few recordings, and some of them are nice and short and sweet, which was really helpful. At
Some are
first,
20
like 20,
minutes, some are
25 minutes.
longer. Yeah.
So initially, after a session, I was just trying to do them somewhat regularly. I didn't want to lose what I'd got. That's the last thing I wanted to do.
Hmm.
But the dive to the five felt complicated at first, but it really wasn't. And when I actually sat down with a pen and paper and did it, I was like, actually, this isn't just not complicated, but it's really liberating because you might write just an issue that you have, and then you start to think and put the dots together, and then you go and you do the trauma clearing, and then I've found something every time I've done self hypnosis. I've found something, and
You
it's still
found
like goes
subconscious trauma, a bad program that wasn't serving you. Is that what you mean?
a bad program. Well, usually I found the bad program, or roughly what I think it might be, when I
Mhm.
write it out. But when I do the self hypnosis, when I do the trauma clearing, that's when I go back to a specific time. Every time I go back to a specific time, and it blows my mind every time I do it.
And how does it blow your mind? What's the benefit, or what does it do for you when
Because
you
it
when you
literally is
do
like a
the
time
trauma
machine.
clearing? Go ahead.
Sorry, mate. It's literally like a time machine. It's like that one time at school, and this happened. It's like, holy crap. And that's what started. It's like the beginning of it. That's what
Mhm.
started the disbelief or the self-sabotage or whatever the thing I'm trying to clear is, the anxiety, whatever it might be, approach anxiety, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's like the root of it. And it's just like, it takes you straight there.
So you go there. So just for our audience, Dive to the Five is a process and a worksheet I give people to locate maladaptive subconscious programs, bad subconscious, whatever you want to call them, subconscious beliefs. Locate it and connect to the negative emotion tied to that. And then you take that into the self-hypnosis audio, and that'll take you back usually to the early or first childhood memory, or one of the first, where you initially adopted this negative belief that's negatively affecting you. So is that accurate description of what you did?
Yeah.
And so what does that do for you? Going back, connecting to these bad subconscious beliefs that are holding you back, going into self-hypnosis, going back to that root memory where it started, what happens then?
Well, after you when you do you find it and you go back to that memory, and then after that, the next stage in it is to clear it. So you've already connected to the feeling you get. That's how you've gone back that far. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then, so then after that bit, you do clear it in the audio. And I've done the same ones a few times, and it lowers every time, like the level, because you can feel it coming up. It's crazy.
So the trauma is getting less and less every time.
Every time, yeah. To the point where I think there's a part in the audio where you ask, like, you give it a number between 1 and 10. When I first did it, it was like high 8, 9. And then the last time I did it a few days ago, I was like, 3.
Like, and what is this about that you were struggling with? Do you mind sharing that particular bad belief?
No.
Cleared?
No, I don't mind, mate. So the one I've wrote a few down. Like, I do have a few different ones that I try and clear regularly, and now some that I'm trying to find as well. So it's like a bit of a challenge to find the other ones.
It's harder because there's a lot less there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the one I was trying to clear was about money specifically, and self-worth. Like, I'm not worth this amount of money, or I don't deserve to be financially free. That's what I was clearing last.
Nice. So how many self-hypnosis audios have you done so far?
I've lost count. Like, I've been doing it quite frequently. I'd say I don't know, man, maybe 10, 20. So I'm not sure, a lot, because I would have known if I'd just done a few.
And how many subconscious programs have you been working on clearing and have actually gone down quite a bit?
Well, there's my original ones that I got from the session. So there's one there, and then I found an additional 2 myself. But I'm currently right now trying to find another one that I can kind of feel. This is the other thing after you have a session, like you're very conscious of things going on. So instead of like having a bad feeling and beating yourself up about it, you're like, I'm kind of curious, like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, what's going on here? Out of it. And we call it peeling away the layers of the onion. You get this big initial shift. And it's different for different people, but more or less, I think the best way to go now, as you guys can see, self-hypnosis can be very powerful. He's clearing some of these, deep traumas on his own. I did it for myself starting 11 years ago. But honestly, what I think is best, if someone really wants to really accelerate their change, is do a one-on-one session and then do some self-hypnosis in combination with that. I do train one-on-one how to do self-hypnosis. By the way, there is also training on school.com, and a lot of people get big benefits doing just self-hypnosis, just the free program. But there's nothing quite that can beat some just in-depth one-on-one guidance. So you're kind of taking what I kind of view as kind of the best bang for the buck path. Is you do one paid session, but now you're fixing additional stuff on your own, not paying anyone anything for that, but still doing that. So, and you know what? Congratulations to you, man. Is there anything you'd like to tell our audience? Anyone thinking about doing this on the fence, or anything else you just like to tell anyone about this experience?
Yeah, sure. What I wanted to mention is what I wanted to mention is the free community that you've got, because I do believe when I did my session, I think you just started it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's been up about 2.5 months. Yeah, the mind now it's on the school platform. Yeah.
now it's flying. So I would suggest anyone now, they have the option to join that for free.
2 webinars a
And not
month.
just
We got free
the
webinars twice a
webinars.
month. We got free content, free self-hypnosis, training on how to use it, a community that interacts with each other. Yeah, you keep going.
I'll shout out the community as well. The community is, I've joined a few of these online communities, and a lot of them are hit and miss, you know, for self-improvement stuff, maybe for money stuff in the past. They're like
Yeah.
hit and miss. This one is really, it's the most positive one I've been in.
Awesome, man. Love it. Yeah.
To the point where I connected with a guy on there. He wanted to help me with my, because I'm useless at marketing. And he's like, "Can I help you out with your online fitness business?" And we talked on
Love it,
Zoom
man.
just a few days ago. And
Yeah.
he's on the other side of the world. So nice guy too. I give him a shout out in the group because he's a very, very nice lad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of, so if you come in with questions, like they'll get answered, and you can do the free stuff as well. It's a perfect way to, you know, find out more about it.
Yeah, when we're focused on positive solutions, there are forums for people trying to improve, but it's really kind of a sounding board to complain. But the general vibe of this is, hey, let's help each other out. And hey, I got these struggles, and people encourage each other instead of just vent and complain. You know what I mean? So I'm really,
Yeah, I
really
hate that.
happy that we got the good vibe going. And it's like, let's find solutions for you guys. Let's focus on improving yourself, getting better. So yeah, I love that about the community. It's awesome.
Definitely. I know if I put something in there, I'll get loads of good responses every time.
Yeah.
And I've done it many
So
times.
keep coming back. It's my honor and pleasure. Thank you for sharing your experience, Liam. Very much appreciate it. Anything final you'd like to say to our audience before I let you go, before you wrap it up?
Just one thing. Just like literally, if you are on the fence, jump off the fence, because you know you really owe it to yourself. You'll be surprised what comes up, and how easy it is to get on track.
Yeah, did
if
that
you're
one
struggling.
session change your life? Fair to say? You tell me.
100%.
Awesome,
100%. I'll
brother.
tell you another
My
thing,
honor
Ryan,
and
before I
pleasure.
go.
Yeah, go
I'm
for it.
giving you everything.
Yeah, man.
I'm bearing off.
Pull out the big stops, man. Go ahead.
You're gonna regret this. You're gonna regret having me on. No,
Oh,
man.
shit.
So
What are you gonna tell? That's okay. I can edit it out if I don't like it. I'll edit out this whole last 5 minutes.
the whole thing,
Right.
to 2 minutes.
All right.
No, the last thing is, you just, because of you have more self-worth. I'm taking no shit in the nicest, most respectful way. You know, even people I've known for years, even some family members. You know, I'm just respectfully setting boundaries, and that's
Yeah.
another
You
thing
don't
that
need to
I
get
don't think we
angry
touched
about
on.
it because you're in control.
No,
You
no,
know you got the power, man.
that's it. Yeah, no
Calm,
anger,
cool,
just
collected,
no.
firm boundaries. Yeah.
That's it.
Keep going.
That's it too.
All right, man. Well, it's my honor and pleasure, man. And I look forward to just seeing your star rise and rise, brother. So
Thank you,
it's
man.
my honor and pleasure. Thank you for being willing to share your story and encourage others to change their lives too. So mindchrysalis.com, YouTube channel, Mind Chrysalis, do a search. We got shows, join the community. You know, one-on-one session. Yeah, I am not 100%, but very high percentage of people, their stories are like Liam. So thank you for sharing and letting people know. And guys, everyone, you have more power than you know. And thank you, Liam.